The question was asked.
How many horses are there?
There are roughly 8 billion humans in the world.
7.3, give or take.
7.3 billion humans in the world.
Correct.
How many horses are there
And
in
I'm
the world?
guessing
Without
120
looking
million.
at your
Yeah,
phone?
I looked.
I got it.
Okay,
But
I
already
looked too.
guessed
I looked
2
too.
billion.
You guessed 2 billion.
But I was just going because
You
7
guessed.
billion. So
I
many.
never said anything.
Think about it.
Yeah, 100 million.
120. 123 probably.
123
More
million.
likely, yeah.
There's about 58 million horses in the
So
world.
that's double.
Now, what about mules?
Right, that's what I wasn't sure if we were including all.
Oh, yeah.
This
Obviously,
isn't-
if we include
this
mules,
isn't
we're a lot
hold your-
closer to 2
This isn't
billion.
hold your mules.
Well, they're
hold your
distant
asses.
relatives.
This is hold your horses. This is a very special
Very
time,
special.
very special episode, because we have the fourth.
Actually, the third.
We have the. So I'm the fourth.
You're the
Yeah,
first.
you're the
Sorry,
fourth.
Trev.
We've always had the fourth, but the third brother is with us today, and it is a real treat.
So
A real
the third
real
real
treat.
brother.
Blood
That's
brother.
correct.
Okay.
We
the
have 3
But
blood
Travis,
brothers.
you
Yeah.
have been blooded in. We spilt your blood to join
So
us.
3 blood brothers and then 1
Half-blood prince.
by law
Step.
Legally, yeah.
legal brother.
Yes.
1 legal, 3
Legal.
blood.
Travis, whatever happens, you're still our brother.
Patrick's here.
I
today.
haven't seen the paperwork.
What's your middle name?
signed.
Patrick Christopher Atkins.
That's
No,
Thomas's
Daniel's.
middle name. Good guess, though.
Patrick Jordan Atkins.
That's
Daniel's
Daniel's middle
good
name.
guess, though.
Close.
I'm gonna get it though. It's a J.
Yep.
Patrick Judah
There you go.
Atkins.
Nailed it.
He's here.
In the flesh.
Just like Travis
Straight
Jennifer.
out of Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right.
Also with a J.
G.
Oh, a G with
Jennifer.
a Jennifer with a G. So it's Jennifer.
Well, it depends.
Depends on who's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be here, guys.
Well, thanks for coming.
all the
Yeah.
way out here, Pack.
It's
It's a weird
great
way
to
to
have
communicate
you.
to each other, but I'm down.
It's just different. Yeah,
It is
but
different.
it is
So-
nice.
Right. We were introducing everyone
We've done that.
3 episodes ago, and we had mentioned. I don't know if it made the cut though.
Probably not. We probably
No,
cut it
but
out.
we had mentioned that.
There was
No, I think
another.
it did. No,
I
it
remember hearing my name
Yes,
mentioned a few
yes,
times.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm an avid fan. I follow you
So
guys.
this
great.
is okay.
all
You're
over
one of our
Facebook and
15
Instagram.
subscribers.
That's right. Sign up, click the link, follow.
I don't. Yeah. See,
What
he
is
doesn't
it?
know either.
You were closer.
Hit
you
the
were
button.
closer because you weren't pointing.
Yeah.
Dan was pointing.
Yeah, Dan's-
But no, this is the Patrick that we were talking about at the beginning.
Brother number 3.
So full circle.
This is kind of a Christmas New Year's special as well. Flew you out from Missouri.
Yeah.
Often confused with Kansas and other states of less importance.
Hold Your Horses LLC brought him out
Yep.
Yeah.
On
their dime.
On our dime.
with the fam.
the whole fam, all
waiting-
paid for.
I am
all
waiting for that
all
reimbursement.
All inclusive.
Yep. We're in a
We'll
resort.
we'll reimburse
Yeah.
you later.
I'm
We're
looking
on a
for that.
7th
Yeah.
story resort. We're staring at the ocean. It's very distracting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you've
Yeah.
been listening and following, obviously,
Sure,
as
sure.
an avid fan. Probably listened to it multiple times, and maybe on a morning jog or your commute to work. But what you may have noticed
But
is
when you were out riding your horse,
Yes.
yeah.
When I saddle up.
you've got us
Hey,
in your ears.
sometimes people say, "Hey, pony up."
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
And that's kind of an off breed
That's a smaller version.
of a
Right.
horse.
Yeah.
Right, but it's still in the vein of horses.
The horse vein.
Right.
I think if you're going to horse up, you're given more than you probably have.
Right.
Pony up is like, you should be able to handle this. Horse up is like,
Yeah.
you're done.
Like you're dead.
You're
Yeah.
dead as a
point.
beat a horse to death. Is it? No, wait, a beat a dead horse?
Don't beat a
Don't.
dead horse.
Guys,
Sometimes I
Don't
feel
keep
like.
beating a dead
we're
horse.
getting ahead of
Oh,
ourselves.
are we?
I don't think
Okay.
we're doing that
Yeah.
one today.
Thanks,
Okay.
Trav, for always keeping us on
He kind
track.
of
But-
pulls the reins in.
Yeah.
Reins us in. That's
Whoa.
good.
That's good.
Whoa, brothers.
Okay.
Blood.
Okay.
We're just so excited. A lot of
we
energy
thought,
in the room.
we
Legal
thought Pac,
binding.
as you joining us here for our 4th episode, as there are 4 brothers, we've
Great.
completed the circle.
That's great.
It's great that you set
Square.
it up that way.
Because of
that
square.
you would get to introduce maybe a beloved idiom that you often use, one that maybe
Does
you
it-
like to say often.
Does anyone have a beloved
Idiom?
One that they treasure?
Just that is off.
I'm thinking of maybe
off-use.
like Smeagol kind of with his ring. I think
pettiness.
when you
precious
say a beloved
sound.
idiom, I don't know
I've
if
never
I have
heard that
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
before. That one's new.
If anyone has something beloved, an idiom,
Okay, maybe
to
just
them,
any
okay.
idiom that you thought was interesting.
Tickles
We
your
could go
fancy,
there.
if you will.
I don't like that idiom
Yeah,
at all.
I'd like
and
to bring that one up
prefer if
eventually.
you would stop.
Do you want to jump into that one?
Because I want to know what your fancy is.
I don't want to
This,
know anything.
yeah,
about
Thomas
that.
would want to. Yep.
I don't
So,
want to take a
yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
I just think that it would be appropriate for you to give it a whirl.
So the last episode was Spill the Beans and Close But No Cigar.
Boom.
Correct.
Well, you
Episode
have
3.
listened, haven't you?
Wow, you're good.
You know your stuff.
He knows. True fan.
Don't know what the second episode was.
That's fine.
Pick a bone.
Pick a bone.
Bone to pick.
Bone to
Give
pick.
a dog a bone. That's what it.
Name
No,
an act,
oh,
paddywhack.
okay. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And then obviously hold
Yeah,
your
a
horses.
pie-
Which is
Pilot,
funny because
Which was
Paddywhack,
frightening.
one of Pack's nicknames was Packwhack.
Oh.
Very close to Packywhack.
Paddywhack.
Packawhack.
Give a dog a bone.
Yep.
So today I'm thinking you're pulling my leg.
Oh.
No, I'm
He's not.
not.
This isn't a joke. You're not pulling my leg.
No.
This is real.
Oh.
This is actually a real podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
We
you,
want you here.
Yeah,
want
we
you
do
here.
want
I thought you guys were just pulling my leg.
Give us some context. Give us a
I
scenario
get
where
it.
pulling my
I
leg
get
would
it.
happen. When have you seen or heard that?
So
It's not seen.
Probably heard.
I've probably heard it numerous
yeah.
times throughout
But
my life.
have you seen it happen?
I've never seen it happen.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like, are you serious or are you joking?
Of course. Of course.
You're pulling my leg.
When's the last time?
Oh,
You've
Trav,
heard
I
it
don't
or you've
track
used it.
when I hear idioms
well,
like
if it's
you
a
guys.
beloved idiom to you,
Yeah. I enjoy a good idiom
as much as
the next guy.
Right.
I wouldn't make a podcast out of the idioms, that's for sure. But
because there's a lot of other important things to talk
there
about.
are a lot of
There's over 200
when this-
million
yeah.
podcasts.
No, that's horses.
Oh, right.
58 million.
58
Wow.
million. They're over. And
What was it?
So if there's
2
if
million.
there are 7 billion people in the world and 58 million horses,
to
and
our-
2
how
million
many
podcasts.
Oh, okay. How many podcasts
2 million.
are there?
it's a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Wow.
So help me, Trav. What was your famous friend's name?
Jeremiah
Was it Jeremiah?
or
Matt?
Lork.
okay, keep going.
Lork?
Oh, Lorg. Yep.
Lorg,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. The patriarch, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me a backstory on Lork and then
Yeah. Yeah.
help me
and
fill
it's,
in?
And it's understandable. You're emphasizing the end of his name as Lork, but it's actually a G,
Right.
like Lorg. But Lorg, I think prehistorically, there was a lot going on back then. A lot of hunting and gathering, and
He's very busy.
very busy.
Yeah.
But also the oral tradition. They had a lot of time once they learned how to talk and speak beyond kind of like.
Morgue. Like, noise,
Yeah,
like noises.
exactly.
Because that's kind of what that
Guttural.
was.
kind of a grunt?
Yeah.
So they probably had beloved idioms that they would come up with. And maybe pulling my leg is something that they did back then.
Possible.
Like Lorg would be like, I just killed 7 mammoths
Saber-toothed tiger. Okay,
and
yeah,
a
and a
saber-toothed
saber-toothed
tiger
tiger, yeah.
with my fist.
Yeah.
And then
The dad
Who is his friend?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah.
said, "Oh, you're pulling my leg."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I'm way over here. Why would you say that?"
Exactly, yeah.
Well, he'd know what he meant because clearly there's a
Well, it had to have
it
started
started somewhere, and that's kind of
we're trying to-
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Trying to
That's
figure
the
out
whole
where
point
it
of
started.
the show. It's a it's more of a
We're-
detective show. It's like
Yeah.
CSI. A lot of those people listen to a lot of those investigative journalism,
Right.
kind of
True
cutting
crime,
edge true crime.
Exactly.
I think it's kind of a dark humor. I don't know. I picture Civil War era.
We love the Civil War.
Okay, I think I know.
Like
Keep going.
like an amputee.
Yep.
Oh.
And the doctor's like, "All right, you're all better." And
And he's like, "You're pulling my leg, right?" He's like,
"No,
No, you
"You
ain't
don't
got
have a leg.
yeah,
Cut that off."
Because
Yeah,
the
'cause it's
cannonball
gone.
went right
Right.
through it.
yeah." But he's on. I don't know what they took back then for
Nothing.
I don't think
painkillers.
that's anything. I think
And
it's
they're
just
delusional.
delirium.
They
Yeah.
poured
And so it's kind of a
alcohol
dark
into their
humor,
face.
like, "Oh, the doc's pulling my leg," and it's like
Yeah.
the doctor's like, "No, that's serious
Come on,
news."
take your first step. He's
My
like,
question with that is like, why, like the doctor, you've got one job. Like comedy should not be.
But you want to
Laughter
lighten the
is
mood,
the
right?
best medicine, Travis.
Oh, wow. Wow, Travis. You walked right into that.
It's so true.
It is
Bump
true,
set
though.
spike.
Wow.
I think I'm good. I think I can leave.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
let's
Thanks
we're
for
done.
flying me
Thanks,
out.
guys.
and,
Drop that mic if you want.
Yeah.
Walk out the door.
Yeah.
Or mic
Yep.
drop.
It's
That's where
kinda-
that
Oh
came
man,
from.
You can't drop
so
it.
we
hard to
will
drop.
reimburse
It's
you someday,
expensive.
but-
Okay.
If
real
it's
good.
heavy, it's expensive.
So that's
Civil
my
War,
that's
okay.
my Civil
So
Let's
War.
go.
War
Let's
era.
go clockwise.
Okay. I mean, people have had legs forever, so obviously.
Could have been way back.
Well, I mean
glad that you
evolution.
set that up.
So
Right.
I mean, not forever.
It started with like tails.
Yeah,
Let's
tails.
go.
Yeah,
Fishes.
Pulling my leg. I mean, I know the other common one that I'm more familiar with is pulling my finger, but that's
Yanking my chain.
that's a different
Yeah, yanking my chain's
Yeah.
right in the ballpark.
Yeah, we can get into
chain.
derivatives.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's more jail time stuff.
So you're thinking of guys in prison.
Oh, the
And
ball and
he's like,
chain.
hey,
Well,
I'm
that's
going to let you out today.
I can't.
And
My
and
mind.
then he like goes.
And then he tries to
goes
run and he
then
pulls his chain back.
You're yanking my
Just
chain.
yanking my chain.
So we're on the same level that it's kind of a like a dark humor.
Well,
like
I'd like
yeah,
to
I know.
get
You're
out of-
free.
I'd
No,
like,
you're
I'd
not.
like to get out of the dark humor if we could.
Yeah,
but
do you-
calm
Can you-
my
I
feet.
don't
Can
know
you?
if we can though
It's
because
kinda there.
Anyways, Tom,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Do you think that's?
you let this get away from
Because
you.
now
your
it's a
turn.
lighthearted, funny. Like, oh, you're messing with me. I just can't picture a scenario. Besides, Pax is so
just spot on.
in my head
Right,
that I
it's
can't
real
get.
good.
out
I
of the
can't get
Civil
Can't get
past
out of
it.
my head. Okay.
He did.
But why leg? I mean, he could have been amputating an arm.
All right.
You're pulling my arm, Doc.
You're pulling the
Why
you're
the
pulling
leg?
the left side
It's
of my
something
face.
you're pulling someone down to make you feel better. I think you're pulling. Oh, you're trying to make me look bad. Stop pulling my leg, and then he's maybe pulling himself up.
Jeez.
I don't know. I can't.
I'm not thrilled with this pick. Actually, I mean,
It's
I
very-
think it was
No,
it's
it's
a great
great.
idiom, and it's oft.
It's great that
used,
this is one of the
but
beloved.
it's a stumper.
Yeah.
Much like
Much
the
like
leg.
Stump,
Much like the war hero that.
Colonel Rochester.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh!
Old
Let's
Stumpy. All right, give me a second
let
here.
Dan
Just let me
jump in
Give,
there.
Let me
yeah.
meditate.
Give Thomas
Just kind of
a
marinate
moment.
here.
Jump in with both feet, if
the
you will.
stew.
You can't.
Can't because it's cut off.
Because it's cut off. I'm actually really excited to find out the origin because Pax
Pulling my
This is intriguing.
fun and fascinating, but there's no way that's right.
Oh,
So
wouldn't
This
go that
level
far.
of like,
sometimes
Stimulation
people like
of the mind.
What's the other one?
slap in the knee.
Funny bone or slap in the knee.
Slap
it's a
in the knee.
It's a real
It's a
knee
knee
slapper.
slapper,
Knee
yeah.
slapper.
I'm kind of thinking there's some connection between
Knee-jerk
slapping
reaction.
of knees, knee-jerk reaction, pulling legs.
doctors, because the
You know how you
doctors are the ones that,
squeeze-
Oh,
that
they
hit
hit
you
funny
with that
bone.
thing,
Hit
and
the
they're
funny
like,
bone.
Not
And
really
that's where the
pulling
joke
my
is.
leg, hitting your leg,
Right.
trying to
But
find your
knee-jerk.
funny bone.
Definitely has to do with
Knee-jerk.
doctors, though.
Ooh.
But the funny
Yeah,
bone is
yeah.
part of the leg, so it's definitely something.
It's
The leg
doctor
bone's
humor.
connected
I
to
mean,
the-
it's all.
It's humorous because your humor
yeah,
bone.
your humor.
Holy.
it's anatomy and
It's all connected.
comedy and
It's science,
linguistics.
really.
It's wow.
Is it okay? So maybe I'm just picturing kind of the grandpa scenario where Gramps,
Oh,
Gramps,
1920s?
Nice.
Gramps tells some thing, and the kids are like,
Yep.
just riveted. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, when it was the second time I'd climb Mount Everest, and the kids are just like
On edge.
all in, and then the dad walks in. The dad,
Tell us, Grandpa. And they're just pulling at his leg. Tell us again, Grandpa.
Oh, you're
Tom is
pulling my
grabbing
leg.
Daniel's leg right now.
Thomas is the
And shaking the
obnoxious
whole
little
table
step
like an
grandson.
And then the
Little
grandpa
boy.
just, quit pulling my leg.
no, just let
Okay.
me finish.
Okay.
And he's like, no. frick.
See, when you pulled his
I know,
leg,
you got
I
all
was
excited.
on to
You
something.
got all
I was on to
excited.
like the
Derailed
grandpa.
him.
The
Derailed
grandpa's
him.
kind of like, gotcha. And he, kind of like grabs the leg, like, gotcha. And they're all in on it.
Is he telling a scary
Maybe
story?
it's a
Like,
scary story, and he reaches
the
out.
campfire,
and goes,
maybe?
and then
Change the
bam,
setting?
Scares him.
But who's saying quit pulling the leg? The grandpa or who he's telling it?
the kid.
no, the grandpa
kid-
says, "I'm just pulling your leg," and he
And pulls it?
pulls the leg of the crank.
And they're like, why do you do that, Grandpa?
why'd you do that? Because I'm messing with you.
I'm just joking.
I didn't climb Everest.
You know how grandpas are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you date this? Because grandpas have been around for
They've
a long
also-
time.
almost as long as legs.
As long as legs.
Almost. Which came first, the grandpa or the
leg,
leg?
or the amputee.
Well,
I would say legs, grandpa.
So
amputee.
1920s, 1930
We're
campfire stories.
Back
World
in the
War-
2030s. You have been listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
We're kind of stuck there.
the
All right,
depression.
Trav, if you don't have anything better to offer,
shoot.
I would like Patrick
see,
to
you
look
listen
this up.
and-
I'm
you don't-
monitoring levels.
Sure.
Checking the levels.
Testosterone
I
levels?
think that pulling my leg. Quit pulling my leg.
Quit it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he's pulling my leg.
Right.
Right.
I think that maybe I could put this in 1500s.
Sure. Just say a number.
You know what? No, early 1800s. Early
okay.
1800s,
Much better.
kind of when the horses were, prevalent.
No.
And I also think that it's like a cowboy thing because we talked about, horses are tall and big.
Why does it
and
have to
whatnot.
connect to horses at all?
Because you said grandpa, and I'm just going. I'm going into like
Sure.
a dark corner that we haven't been.
I think
So-
you're lost in
Yeah,
a room.
you're wandering.
and you
No,
don't
I'm
even
trying
know.
to find my way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You need some
dark,
help. Find it.
light.
You're groping.
Okay,
You
get
are
it.
groping.
Get it. Groping. Well,
Well,
yeah.
here's-
At least I didn't grope
Zach's
your
gonna
way.
give us a big
Well,
old flashlight in a minute if you don't wrap this up.
Well, I'm interrupted. Cowboy times.
Cowboys.
Cowboy jumps up on his horse. He's like, about the same level as somebody when they're standing up. So when they reach out, they could definitely pull his leg.
Go on.
Right? So he's on the horse and somebody's like pulling his leg and they're like,
Ha 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 ha.
And he says, "Stop pulling
yes,
my leg."
Yeah, stop pulling my leg. And then he gets the horse to kind of
And then he
kick the
kicks
guy.
him with his spur right in their face.
Because horses are very powerful, so they
Right.
probably just.
Right.
So it
Booted
started
him,
off
like, a
as
few
like
feet back.
a prank.
Pax,
I think so,
Pax
I think
enjoying
so.
this because he's
was
already
so-
read the
we're
answer.
way off.
But
I think so.
we're not
I was
even
thinking
in
you
the
went
ballpark.
1500s. I
Okay,
picture this
Thomas, you're up.
monarch.
You get
this-
another
this
chance.
king
You get another chance.
walking through the streets with beggars pulling on his legs, begging for
There you go.
just a crumb, a
Yep.
speckle,
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
some bread.
And he
like
laughs
that.
at them.
And he goes,
Oh.
ha ha ha! Quit pulling on my leg.
Like I'm gonna
Like, yeah, like I'd
quit
give you-
thinking
like
I'm
I'd
gonna-
give you anything.
You peasant.
And then he does give him something.
Does he? And that's the joke.
Yeah, that's how funny would it be if I gave them something?
Yeah. And what if? Yeah. One day he's like, maybe I will give the peasant something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picture
And this is like
pulling
a-
on the leg like that.
Yeah.
Like a literal pulling of the leg,
I
obviously.
picture everybody being so wrong
Okay.
that it's
Yeah.
not even funny.
Should we get to the bottom
Well-
of this?
So Patrick,
Okay.
Let's
why
see.
don't you enlighten us?
help? Because,
I will try. However,
Oh no.
right now, these are enigmas.
Oh,
No one really knows.
No
Really?
way.
No wonder.
There are two popular theories about how this phrase came about, neither of which is backed up by any real evidence, nor are they that
Oh.
plausible.
Wow.
So I'm just going to go ahead and
So
say
This
ours
one
mine
has
is
really stumped
probably the
us.
most
Ours are probably
accurate.
just as plausible,
Totally.
if not more plausible.
We'll see.
The first one is that thieves used to pull at people's legs to trip them. Once
Pull
the
at 'em?
victim was on the ground, the thieves would have ample opportunity to rob them.
Ample. Yeah.
While it is an interesting story, the plausibility is low, and the details of the origin change
you don't
too much
trip someone
to be taken seriously.
You
It
don't
doesn't
trip
even
someone
connect
Yeah,
by
if you want to
pulling
steal
on their
something,
legs. You trip them with your
sucker
foot.
punch them in the gut.
Some people say
You
this
stick your foot
happened in the medieval markets
Well,
or
that's
Victorian
kinda
London.
fun. Sure, they would grab their legs.
So I
picture a little
14,
beggar
1500s,
hiding
yeah.
under a bush, and like the wealthy guys, they're walking by Victorian England, and he yanks his leg, but I don't understand why.
Excuse me, sir.
What's the funny part?
Where's the
when the
humor?
guy pulls out a gun and puts it to his head,
Now I'm
and he's like,
pulling
"Oh,
my
I was
gun."
just pulling your leg.
Yeah.
It's a joke."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
just making
And
it.
it's only funny when he gets
It
caught.
was just a
When two
spoof,
people
man.
are laughing.
Oh, come on. Okay, that's
That's
terrible.
good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Second
very
one.
unplausible.
Second theory.
I think the
Second.
second is worse.
Oh,
man.
Oh
Dang.
boy.
The theory has to do with executions by suspension, hanging at Tyburn in England. It's believed that people were occasionally hired to hang onto the victim's legs
To
to give them a
help.
quicker death.
Oh.
Oh well, that takes a new.
However, this theory is also discounted.
That's almost as dark
It's
as
like,
your
hey,
little
quit
Civil War
pulling my
story.
leg.
I wonder
Wow.
if
I
it's-
like the first
if it's
one.
like,
You
hey,
can't
Say anything
what about
though when
this?
he's choking.
They're hanging, and the guy comes and pulls their leg. Hey, he's still alive. But no, not really. He's dead.
No, he's
and
just
he's like,
pulling
I
his
was just
leg.
pulling his leg.
Look at his look. It's moving.
It's moving.
And he's like, no,
pulling
I
his
was
leg.
pulling it. I was
about
wiggling.
Again,
black
dark
comedy.
humor.
Or maybe
Yeah.
there's a rope
Jeez.
hidden, and they're like
Oh,
making
yeah.
the guy wiggle, and everyone's like, he's alive. And then the guy's like,
Pull his
that was
leg.
me. I was pulling his leg. Yeah.
Wow. So that's
Okay,
a dark.
so Pack picked
I
an
like the
enigma.
Civil War.
I didn't
We
even
gotta
know
get
that was
to
a
the
thing.
bottom
Pack's
of
kind of
this.
like an enigma.
I am.
The way he kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, whoa.
We might not see you for who knows. Who knows? Wow.
So let's do another one if we can.
Well,
Sure.
I said.
Can we? Oh,
You said?
You did.
When he was on the flight, I said,
Pick two.
come
Prepared.
2 or 3.
Bearing, didn't
With
you say,
both guns
didn't you say
drawn.
come bearing
Yeah.
gifts? Or
Guns
no?
blazing.
I said, I'm not pulling your leg. Please, I want you on the podcast.
I really got tripped up by that,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
With your legs.
Because I was
Okay.
trying to pull it.
good.
Good.
But
All
we
right.
were
made a
miles
fool of
apart.
myself.
So I think he has a second one.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the other
Second
one
wind.
is bury the hatchet. Let's bury the hatchet.
Wow.
Okay,
you
now
give
with
me some
this.
context?
Now with exactly.
I don't have context.
No,
I
no,
only
but-
have
but
It doesn't
I
have
want-
to be Lorg. That's
No,
the thing.
no,
Is I know a lot of people are
I like-
confused
you
and think
to-
Lorg is
yeah.
essential.
Context of when
would this be?
I like Jeremiah if you want to run with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Jeremiah
Make up any-
Johnson.
Jeremiah's out.
any
make up
name
any-
you like, bury that hatchet in it. Go for it.
Good.
That doesn't.
No,
Well,
that's
it doesn't
not
have
the
to-
expression at
Okay.
all.
No,
not
that's
it.
different.
It
Don't-
could be 2 guys getting coffee and
Right.
and
In a dark
It doesn't have to be
setting.
coffee, but
Winston
bury the
Winston
hatchet.
and Nick
And Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
are getting coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
And they had a little tiff.
Ooh.
They got mad at each other.
Sure they
Got
did.
it.
And Nick said, hey, we need to bury the hatchet.
Good.
And so they did.
They did.
So he kills him in the coffee shop.
They did.
Right there in the coffee shop.
Oh.
It
Is that
was,
how it's used? We need to bury the hatchet.
let's
Or
bury the
let's
hatchet.
bury the hatchet. I think time to bury the hatchet. We should. Did you have a different
Very
thing
dark.
that you thought it meant?
So it just means we need to settle a dispute.
We need to put
need
this
to-
behind us.
Move on.
Move on.
We need to
Okay.
settle our accounts.
What did you think it meant something else? Because I'm curious, or
Yeah.
you didn't
What
know
did
what
you
it meant.
think, Thomas?
Well, bury the hatchet.
Tom's never buried the hatchet.
No, I've
with
never-
anyone. He
Never
always
gotten
holds
mad at
grudges.
anyone.
He's just a grudge holder.
And just let things
Simmer, so you can bring it up
Fester.
later.
fester. Bury the hatchet.
So,
Old
Pat,
Chester
let's-
Fester.
may I interject here?
Please.
Please.
Could subconsciously was the reason
hey,
that you?
this
Hold
is
on,
not
hold
a
on.
personal-
Hang
I
on,
just think
let
it's
him
interesting
finish.
that of all of us 4 brothers, I can only
One
count
legal.
on one finger how many of
one
us have
leg.
literally had
A hatchet incident?
buried into their finger
Right.
Right.
and chopped off. So Pac, when he was 5.
No one knows
6.
the actual year.
Okay.
Well, it's almost a wives' tale by this point.
I
but
recall,
except that you can see
Except for the evidence.
You weren't-
except for the fact that your middle finger has been severed.
Never out of my grasp.
Patrick is actually
still has-
had an axe sever
Buried.
a hatchet.
Actual.
Buried
An
in-
actual hatchet. Bury the
buried
hatchet.
into his finger.
Bury the axe? No. Bury the hatchet.
No, it's the
always
hatchet.
a hatchet.
It's a
axe
smaller-
to grind.
Yes.
So we grind
It's
the
on
axe,
his-
we bury the hatchet.
His left hand.
But not in the ground. You don't
It's
dig a
his
hole and
middle
put the hatchet
finger.
in.
Well, that,
giving a
hold
sign.
on.
Yeah.
But that could be
That
what
could
it
be
means.
what it means. Okay.
So anyway, I think that's a great choice
Thanks
for you.
for bringing up my childhood
Yeah,
memories.
well, I know you thought that hatchet was buried.
It's not.
But we brought it. It's
We brought it
resurrected.
right back
we
up.
dug it up.
Yeah.
So do we need to rebury the hatchet?
You might need to call Tim up.
Yeah. Hey,
It
Tim.
Cousin. Tim, if you're
Tim
listening,
Atkins,
Patrick
yep.
holds no grudges. The hatchet has been buried.
But he wants
Right.
to know why he
However,
cut his finger off.
based on the look on his face, he's more concerned about a timeline.
Yeah.
So, Pat,
4 or 5 years old? I
go
don't know.
ahead
Yeah, he was
and
all in
dig a
the
little
past.
deeper with this hatchet that's
Oh
buried.
yeah. Well,
How
now
deep?
you've presented it. So
How deep do
what
you bury
think?
it?
All right.
What-
6 feet.
Where did it come from?
Yep. Not where did you? Yeah, not your finger.
So I'm
the
thinking
expression.
1992,
Oh, wow.
93.
That's specific. Yeah.
Probably near someone's garage up on the side of the
Kind
hill
of in a
there.
more rural
I'm
area.
picturing like manzanita bushes.
You think that's where the hatchet that chopped your finger off is buried?
Oh, okay. I'm crossing my lines now. I'm not telling the childhood story.
No.
Oh, this is when you
Oh, okay.
think that.
I mean, you can tell the story. We're looking at the origin
Right,
of
right.
an actual of the
So
idiom.
how long have hatchets been around? We're
as long as
talking-
legs, maybe.
I know axes.
I'm thinking-
They're not as long as legs, though.
I mean,
those
I'm-
are axes.
Hatchets are short.
Axes
Oh,
are
yeah.
long.
I'm thinking 1700s,
Right.
colonial era.
Yep.
Obviously, the lot of conflict, a lot
Okay.
of fighting in between the colonials and the Native Americans.
Oh,
Very good.
Okay, good.
You're thinking
And this is post first Thanksgiving,
Sure.
1772,
72.
right around there,
Right. Give or take.
give or take 10 or 15.
Decades.
And yeah, a tribe. Maybe it was between tribes, but maybe it was between white men and Native Americans, and they.
Okay. Okay.
That was
No, I
something
like
they
this.
did
I
to
like
bury the hatchet. It was
this. So they were fighting.
yes,
and
there
then
was conflict,
They bring the hatchet.
and they bury it and say no more war, no more scalping, no
Right,
more,
right.
no more
Okay.
skinning.
Because
so you are going a literal burying.
literal.
They, they
Dig a
actually
hole,
said,
throw the hatchet,
It's
your
more
guns,
symbolic.
your weapons,
Because
symbolic.
the hatchet was used to skin
to skin
To
the,
scalp.
scalps.
Scalp them.
Yeah,
Scalpel.
Because that it could just come from that. Too.
I like that. It's a peace treaty.
it's a peace treaty.
It's a peace
Yeah,
treaty.
That's what we're looking
And
at.
probably the tribe it started with was the
Algonquin.
Tomahawk Indians.
Oh.
Because the tomahawk, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
is like a hatchet.
It's true.
That's good, Pac. This is a lot better than the other one.
Yeah,
But it's in the same era. We're right there.
I'm sure
All
there
right.
was a lot of.
So why don't we go the other way
amputations of
around? Because I
hatchets.
feel like
Go ahead,
okay.
Trav.
All
I
right,
think it's
I'm up.
Why don't you
unfair
jump
for
right in?
Travis to
So
have
you're
all this
a
extra
literal
Burying
burying
the
of,
hatchet.
of a symbolic hatchet that this represents war.
weapons.
time. Yeah,
Here is
that's
peace.
good. Gosh, that's good.
Thanks,
But when you presented your Nick and Winston and Nick or Winston
yeah, you
Nick
got
and
it.
burying
Nick
that,
and Winston.
it's let's resolve something or lay it to
Let's-
rest.
Let's
to rest.
let's
Yep.
bring peace to our
Laid
conflict.
to rest.
Okay.
Let's set aside our
Differences.
squabbling and
You ordered a
I'm gonna
mocha,
go the
I
other
wanted
way.
a latte.
Has anyone ever seen Gangs of New York?
Yep.
No, you keep talking about it.
I
though.
did. I didn't like
it's
it.
a Scorsese. It's
Yeah.
one of his underrated.
It's got the guy from Last Mohicans though.
Daniel
which
Day-Lewis.
has a
Tomahawk.
flippin'
Leo
amazing
DiCaprio.
axe hatchet.
Cameron
which
Diaz.
kind of
different
ties
type
into what
So
we're talking
good.
about right now.
I think that it is an actual statement of aggression and violence. Like, let's bury this hatchet like into flesh.
Let's
Oh,
end this game.
wait a minute. So let's
Let's get aggressive.
the only way to bury this hatchet is if we like fight it out. Oh boy, with a hatchet or anything.
Well, at that time,
The proverbial hatchet, yeah. At that time,
At the
okay, so
time,
then
it was a
came-
hatchet.
But also, I think that Viking era,
Okay.
they had hatchets back then. They didn't
Do
call them
you know
hatchets.
that?
Huh?
They
didn't
call
call
them
them
little axes.
Yeah, 'cause
Baby
15,
axes.
1400s.
Norse times and yeah, all of the excavations that
That's
they've
further
done.
back.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, but they have little axes.
Okay.
Yeah, little baby
little,
axes.
Little hacking.
I would
tools.
love,
they were
here's what I'm picturing with the first hatchet. You have like these big Vikings like splitting wood and like
yeah.
lopping heads off. And one guy, like if you've ever cut wood, like an axe, if you haven't
heavy.
used it
Pretty
regularly,
hefty.
I mean I cut wood all
All
the
the
time.
time.
My shirt off.
You use
but,
pellets though.
Yeah, you have a pellet stove, Dan. Don't.
It still works. It gets the job done.
I carry a bag in and dump it in. But I'm picturing like one guy, like, dang it, these are really heavy. And he like brings a smaller axe.
Like
and
a
it was
Zoolander?
Like,
Yeah.
that's not your axe, is it? And he's like, no.
Like war
this
cry,
is my,
everybody
and he
raises.
just calls it something else. Like,
Yeah.
no, this is a hatchet. And they're like, what's that? He's like, oh,
Hatchet?
it's totally hatchet.
And he's like,
when
you can throw it
everyone
at
had
people's
Bowie knives and then
faces.
someone's
Right.
like,
Right.
here's my
Got all
pocket
sorts of
knife.
uses.
It's like the pocket knife of
Of
axes.
axes.
Right.
And then it gained popularity. But no, I think bury that. Yeah, bury the hatchet.
Is an aggressive.
Annihilate.
Let's have one more
Go.
fisticuffs.
Wow.
Wow.
But hatchets aren't really around as much.
You wouldn't say that with a gun. What would you say if it was a gun?
bury the bullet.
Okay, here's mine. Here's my thought. In Tuolumne, we have a lumber jubilee, and there is an actual
I thought about
axe
this.
throwing and hatchet chucking competition. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I've watched it.
Okay.
That's amazing,
I'm
actually.
picturing colonial,
Okay.
same time
Fair.
period.
That's fair.
And it's a way of settling a dispute. Hey, like you place, like, oh no,
That's exactly
That's my
what they
claim.
said.
No, it's my
right,
claim.
Yeah, I claimed it.
Well, who's
first.
there? Yeah, how are we
And
gonna
they're
settle
like,
this?
I put my stake in the ground, and they're like, "Hey, well, there's only one way to solve this," and they go out and they each have their hatchets, and they bury the hatchets into the target, and whoever buries it in the center, like that's how you settle the dispute. Well, let's go outside and bury some hatchets.
So this is pre-guns because they do targets.
Yeah, maybe
Bullets
just
on
because
top
the
of
bullets were more precious and they didn't want to waste them.
Precious. Say that again.
But
kind of
precious bullets are more precious.
Just
precious
precious.
bullets. So it's a throwing of hatchets.
Yeah.
I think
What
Pac's
else?
right,
What else?
but as soon as you said that, because I was picturing like a little mound of dirt, and they're like patting it, and there's a little hatchet they buried,
Laid to rest.
and kind of like
when in your mind,
Go ahead.
when they bury it, do they leave like the hatchet part out, or is
No.
it just a mound?
No, it's
buried.
completely buried. And it's not even a mound.
Well,
I think
how would
it's
they
flat.
know that it's not
How
some
deep?
small rodent that was a
when
pet of
Pac's
the
finger
family?
was cut off, we took the ceremonial hatchet and we went out
No,
into a field.
I think someone still
and we
owns it.
buried that.
Yeah,
And
Tim
it was
has
pretty
that
sure
on his
Dave
wall
or
next to
someone
the
still
other
has
part
it.
of your finger.
Where'd the
Right.
nub go?
Tim has
That's
it as a
another-
necklace, I think.
Story for another time.
I mean, we're all
They-
here, so
They planted it.
okay. So
That's the best I have.
A hatchet is a small axe.
Okay.
Nice.
So you
The
looked up a
phrase
dictionary.
"bury the hatchet" comes from a ceremony performed by Native American
Shut your
tribes
face.
when previously warring
This has never
tribes
happened.
declared
This is
peace.
unflipping
When two
precedent.
tribes decided to
Dear
settle their
God.
differences and live in harmony,
You have got
I
to
think
be
you should-
kidding
chief
me.
of each tribe
Yeah, you
buried
can't come back
a
on the
war
show.
hatchet in the ground to signify their
Wow.
flipping
So it's a
gosh.
literal bearing. It's exactly what Pat said.
I'm not sure how I feel about this. That
It's
this
not as
newbie,
exciting.
old noobster
Hey,
comes
guys.
on.
well,
Guys.
Here's
Listen,
Let's settle our differences here now and just
You
bury
mean-
the hatchet.
no, but I think that with your first one, there's no resolve to that one.
So
So
that
this
you
one's
got-
really
okay,
nice.
so
Nice
it's
to have
it's
one.
kind
Good
of a
closer.
Thank you, Trev.
yeah.
That's
It's a
good.
good way to end it on a high
legit
note.
burying a hatchet. But I think when
I
they
love
did
that.
bury the it'd be nice to have a little hatchet
Sticking
sticking out of
out.
the ground, so they would know, like, oh, that's that one.
Maybe
town.
They
they
would,
have
when
a-
they were starting to argue again, they go, "Hey,
Hey, look,
Blackfoot."
But it would
follow
constantly
me.
trip
Yep,
them up,
follow.
you know.
That's true.
Well, but it
You don't
wouldn't
wanna
just
trip
be
on a hatchet.
in the middle of the thoroughfare.
Do you think they had a
It
specific
would be, like,
field
on a-
of
yeah,
like
exactly,
multiple
yeah.
buried hatchets?
Yeah.
Like go out to Hatchet
think
Berry
so.
Field.
No, because we haven't found those fields.
Yeah.
Right.
That
How
would
many
be an
hatchets do you
interesting
think
archaeological discovery is
were
like a
buried?
bunch of
Bunch
fields.
of hatchets.
Because
If
I
there
don't
are
think
7
it's.
billion
They said it was
humans
between
and 58
tribes.
million horses.
Between
Oh,
tribes.
okay.
How
Because if
many
it was just a
hatchets
ceremony within,
per
like,
person?
anytime you had to dispute with a friend, you had to bury a hatchet.
But you know,
they'd
someone
run
would go
short.
back and dig them up. 'cause,
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
That was a really
Like,
nice
that was
The
a
hatchet.
good
tribe
hatchet,
that was
yeah.
like the tribe that was like fooled you tonight. We're gonna do
Gotcha.
a war
Raid,
party and
yeah,
raid the
yeah.
crap out of you.
That was the hatchet that I buried.
I'm gonna bury this hatchet in your face.
Wait a second, we already buried. Yeah, I'm gonna bury it again.
Not with
Boom.
us though. Exactly. Patrick, that was productive.
That was on
Thank you,
point.
guys.
I learned so much
was
today.
on-
And that's what I wanted to
I
bring
wish we hung
to
out
today's
more, actually.
podcast.
Bring to the table.
The round table.
That's good.
And I'm the head of the
What do
round
you have to
table.
bring to the table? Is that an idiom? Bring to the table? It's kind of just.
It's kind of
It's
basic.
just what you do
Pretty standard.
when
When
you're
you
ready to
come
eat.
to
do
the
something.
table.
What do you bring to the
Let's
table?
all come to the table.
All right. Well, what did you
Fellowship.
bring?
Huh?
And then someone's like, well, what did you bring?
What'd you
Trav
bring?
brought these mics.
Travis brought everything
Yeah.
to this table.
I brought
I
all the
actually
mics.
brought the almond roca.
almond
I brought
Yeah.
a slow brew mango squeeze.
So you guys out there getting ready for the holiday festive times with families, just know we'll be with you. 40 minutes
And maybe
or so.
now's the time to think about
Bearing
the hatchet.
Bearing the
as
hatchet,
a New Year's resolution.
if you have any
should-
grudges,
What
or
hatchet do you have to bury?
That's great. So this is
Good.
becoming more of like a
But
self-help.
do it
We're
with
inspiring
the,
people.
Do it with the
Yeah.
true origin, not the aggression.
No, not
the
the one you
violent
came
one.
up with.
Yep.
And then right at the end, after you've buried the hatchet, give a little pull on their leg and be like,
Just pull on
kidding.
your leg.
I'm gonna
That's
let
right.
this thing ride into 2022. and
2022.
That's just dark humor.
That
right
is
there.
real dark.
It
That's
was
good.
a dark and stormy night.
So you could pull the leg first. Like, we'll never settle this argument. I'm just pulling your leg, then bury the hatchet would probably
you
be
go.
the more adult,
That's right.
mature move.
Kind of like the order that I brought it to the table.
So you start, you've got a bone to pick, and then you pick it, and then you bury the hatchet
Right.
with the bone.
Bones are buried too.
With the guy's leg.
Leg
Right.
bones.
All the ligaments.
That's when you get back to the humorous part.
Right.
From the Hold Your Horses
Mouth.
family.
Straight from the horse's
Straight from
mouth.
the horse's
Horse's
mouth.
family. Straight from the Hold Your Horses family's mouth.
We'd like to wish you
Mouths.
a happy New Year from Thomas Atkins.
From Daniel Atkins.
From Travis Bainbridge.
And Patrick Atkins.
Happy New Year.